last time we talked about mid-latitude cyclone, right? We talked about the stages of a mid-latitude cyclone, from initial stage, development stage, mature stage, and occlusion. And we said that don't focus too much on the occlusion stage because there are two different types of occlusions, which is something we are yet to do. That is why the activities that I even gave you, I even cut some of the questions so that you guys can only do what we have done. Okay, so now the thing is, I explained how a mid-latitude cyclone works, and now the question was 6.2, refer to the figure 6, which shows a mid-latitude cyclone. So this is a mid-latitude cyclone, guys. Even if they don't tell you that this is a mid-latitude cyclone, you must be able to identify that this is a mid-latitude cyclone. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes. All right. So what is one of the things that you can give evidence that this is a mid-latitude cyclone? What can you see that you can point out and say that this is a mid-latitude cyclone? What evidence can you see? Yes, Dahazo.
So I see a cold front and a warm front.
Yes. You see a cold front and a warm front. When there's a cold front and a warm front, it is part of a mid-latitude cyclone. Bonola, I saw a hand as well. What do you see, or what can you identify that will tell you that this is a mid-latitude cyclone?
No, so I wanted to say the same thing.
Yes. And also the other thing, guys, it's a low pressure system. So a mid-latitude cyclone is one of the low pressure systems that we have. It's one example of a low pressure system. Simply means that there is warm air that is rising. Okay. So a mid-latitude cyclone is a low pressure system. Number 2, a mid-latitude cyclone, it has got a warm front and a cold front. Okay. That is one of the things that you can just use to identify it. Now 6.2.1 now says that provide one point of evidence. Guys, when we're talking about evidence, we are talking about something that is visible in the figure. Okay, we're talking about something that you can see from the diagram. Evidence is not something that you know, guys. I know that you guys understand that in a mid-latitude cyclone, there is warm air rising. There are many people who are writing that as an evidence to say that there is warm air rising. Okay, we know, guys, that's a truth and that's a fact. We cannot dispute that. But can you see that from the evidence provided? Can you see that from the image? Do you see any warm air rising there in the image?
No.
No. Okay, when they say provide one point of evidence visible, we are talking about something that you can see from the diagram that tells you that this is indeed a mid-latitude cyclone. Okay, in this case, they say to substantiate that the mid-latitude cyclone shown is in the mature stage of its development. There are many points, guys. I think up to 5 points that we said about the mature stage of a mid-latitude cyclone. And okay, good thing you guys you remember some of those things, and we talked about them, that there is more warm air that is rising, intensifying the low pressure. But guys, can you see any warm air rising in this particular diagram as visible evidence in this diagram? Can you see any warm air rising?
No.
The second thing that we said about the mature stage is that the system moves northward. Do we even see this mid-latitude cyclone moving northwards, or is something that you know?
No.
We don't see it, sir.
You don't see it. It's not visible. So to those people who are writing reasons such as the mid-latitude cyclone moves northwards, that is wrong. In this case, you look at what you can see. Okay, what you can see is the evidence. Don't point out what you know. What you know is correct. I know that you know what is correct, but what you can see from the diagram provided of the mid-latitude cyclone. So what can we see that will tell us that this is this mid-latitude cyclone is in its mature stage? Dahazo?
So there is a mature cold front and also a mature warm front.
Yes, there is a well-developed cold and warm front. It is something that you can see, guys. Is everyone able to see the cold front here? This one. Isn't yes, Trevor? Yes, Trevor.
Sir, I want to ask if my answer is correct, sir.
Yes.
Sir, I said the warm front and the cold front have fully developed.
Yes, it is the same thing as saying that there is a fully developed warm front and cold front. Yes, Yangoba?
So, I also wanted to ask that my question is correct. I said the cold sector is larger than the warm sector and it doesn't have a overlapping polar front.
Okay, so the one that is saying it doesn't have is kind of you're answering in the negative. Yes, it doesn't have an overlapping polar front indeed. You are trying to say that it is not the occluded stage, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but here they didn't say that proof that this is not an occluded stage. They say that proof that this is a mature stage. So you cannot give reasoning about proving that this is not occluded. Okay.
Say, can I say something?
Yes.
For me, the reason why I said it doesn't have overlapping polar front is that in a occlusion stage, the cold sector is larger than the warm sector, and also in the mature state, the cold sector is larger than the warm sector, so it's the same thing. To see ukuthi meaning proof mature state sifuna ngifake in but lekhona ngalithi occlusion to say that,
No, guys,
and it doesn't have an overlapping.
Thing is, I'll shoot out for Nangashi question. The question is not asking you to compare mature stage and occluded stage. So you are not supposed to include something that is happening in the occluded stage when they ask you to tell us about why this is in the mature stage. There are many points that we said last time about how to identify the mature stage. Some of these are shown here.
Okay.
So, guys,
the cold sector is larger than the warm sector.
Well, even in the occluded stage, it is still the same thing. Even in the occluded stage, is still the same thing. But here, the most notable thing that you can see here is that there is a warm front, a fully developed warm front, and a cold front. It's something that is evident from the diagram. What else can be evident from this diagram? That is all about talking about the mature stage alone. When a mid-latitude cyclone is fully mature, how else can you identify it?
Oh, okay. So if I didn't include that, it doesn't have an overlapping. It doesn't have an overlapping polar front. Then I said the cold sector is larger than the warm sector. Am I correct?
Well, it's not correct because even during the occluded stage, even during the development stage, during the development stage, we don't really have a cold sector, but during the occluded stage, the cold sector still remains bigger. So it is kind of similar in both of them. So that's not a point enough for us to say definitely this is mature.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will write correction.
Yes. So what else, Kia?
So I know this is you already really for this page, but then sir, for some reason you see those lines that are going clockwise. I thought when the lines are going clockwise, it means the air is rising, and in anti-clockwise it's going like it's sinking. Yeah, but does that make sense?
Okay, that's incorrect, unfortunately. That is why, guys, I gave you a task at the end to research the different diagrams used to describe the mid-latitude cyclone. This one is a top view. It's more like you are looking at the mid-latitude cyclone from the top. So though that air is just circulating at the surface, it is not really rising to the upper atmosphere. That is just the air circulating at the surface. I was still together.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Trevor.
So I want to ask a question that this thing happens in a surface or up the atmosphere.
At the surface, guys, the mid-latitude cyclone is something that we actually experience here on Earth at the surface. Kind of it overlaps. When we look at the different diagrams representing a mid-latitude cyclone, that's when you will properly see when it's on the surface, how does it look like? How does it overlap? But it's kind of from the surface all the way to the upper atmosphere.
So last pillar corner last pillar corner straight noma phezulu kancane kwethu.
Cha, la siphila khona straight njengamanje. If you go and live in Cape Town, if you stay in Western Cape Valley, the mid-latitude cyclone, it comes through you. Remember, guys, that this is all air. I'm sure we're not talking about cold air, cold front. It's not something that you can see coming. It's air. You cannot see air with your eyes, right? But it's a phenomenon. That's why we are using diagrams to try and describe it. But when it's happening right here, exactly where we are.
Okay, sir. So into le kahle iqala khona la kithi la siphila khona ngithi.
Yes.
So maqeda seyakhuphuka yabona le part leya usishile ngayo ukuthi wena the warm air ijumpa kancane iya ngapha maqeda bayiphushe bayise phezulu ileyo ipart leyo ukuthi khani iqala khona seya phezulu and then seqala ifuma ama cloud.
Yes, that layer part we are going to focus on it when we reach to the weather patterns associated with the mid-latitude cyclone. But generally, this is affecting us here from the Earth surface. So definitely, this is a kind of a top view of how it looks like.
Oh, so yenzeka la kusurface kuphela or iphinde iyakhuphuka iya phezulu or inokuphelela khona la kithi.
Don't worry, masasibuka ama-diagrams. That's why I gave you a task to research ama-diagrams. Masasibuka ama-diagrams, we'll be able to explain it from that point of view. Is it fine?
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So what else, guys? What is the other evidence that you can see from the diagram? Yes, Trevor.
Say ngaba wrong mangathi angithi uyakhumbula ku development stage ifront le ngathi iba wave nyana so ayigobeki that much. So lana mangathi mina into lena angithi uyakhumbula sekuthi ku development stage after initial stages.
Yes.
Uthe wena si identify ngokuthi ifront le iba wave angithi. So la se access wave se gobeke too much se.
Well, it's not really an evidence because even we occluded stage it gobeke too much. So we want something that is specific to mature stage. Siyanqoba?
Okay.
Ngaba wrong mangithi this mature stage forms an angle of 90 degrees.
Where did you see the angle of 90 degrees in this diagram? How did you see it? How? There's no 90 degrees. I don't see 90 degrees. Maybe you can point it out. Where is it?
Lapha L. Lapha phakathi.
Okay. Who said this is 90 degrees?
Yeah.
Who said it is 90
I'm trying
degrees?
to.
Okay, good try. Yes, Ntokozo Mojo.
Sir, there is an L. Do you see the L there?
Yes, it's a low pressure system. Yeah, it's a low pressure system. When it's a low pressure system, well, it somehow tells us, yes, there's an L showing that it's a low pressure system. It intensifies actually. Yes, other one. Who else, Sam?
The cold air front moves faster than the warm air front.
How do you see from here? Like, what makes you say that?
Remember, so you said the original diagram into my wind on a straight line. Uzobona ngama arrow end to iphe move faster than each other. So ama nodes akho la ya.
No, Pela speed is something that you have to see happening. These arrows are just showing what the air is moving in this direction. This one is moving in this direction. It's not really visible that this is moving faster. It's not really visible ukuthi this is faster. Yes, who's this Yangoba?
Say, if I say this mature stage forms a V shape.
Not really. And then last one, Tahatso, last ones. We've only done one.
So I'm guessing, eh?
Yes.
The hectopascals, they decrease going inwards.
Okay, yeah, that shows that it's a low pressure. But this one, I think I forgot to mention last time, in the mature stage, the pressure at the center, you see this, I'm sure we have got this low pressure system, right? And we've got 996. Can you see 996 hectopascals here?
Yes.
So when you go towards the center or towards this L, the pressure at the center, it is less than 1000 hectopascals. It must be less than 1000. So I think we've got a bit of an error in our previous diagram, but the pressure at the center, the pressure at the center of this mid-latitude cyclone, it must be below 1000. So you're just going to fix it here. I think when I explained mature stage, I wrote 1006, but this is not supposed to be. It must be below 1000. Okay.
Yeah.
So whenever you see the pressure reading here, the atmospheric pressure reading at the center below 1000, then you can say that it's a mature one. And then which hemisphere is depicted? (6.2.2) Tahatso.
So the southern hemisphere.
Why?
I said because like it is moving in a clockwise direction.
What is moving in a clockwise direction?
The air, like the cold air and the warm air.
Yes. So it's not moving really, it's circulating or rotating.
Yeah.
Because this is not movement, it's a rotation. So guys, to identify the hemisphere the mid-latitude cyclone is found in, we have to look at the direction of rotation of the air around that mid-latitude cyclone or around that low pressure cell. In this case, you can see that the air is rotating into the clockwise direction. Do you see, guys, these arrows are showing that? You see the air is rotating like this. Yeah, it's a clockwise direction. So this is a clockwise rotation. So whenever you see that the air is rotating clockwise, it means that it is what? It means that it is a low pressure system found in the southern hemisphere. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So this is a southern hemisphere. If they say give a reason for your answer, you now say that the air in the cell circulates in the low pressure cell or in the mid-latitude cyclone circulates, or you can say it rotates, or you can say that it rotates in a clockwise direction. So if it is rotating in a clockwise direction, this means that it is at the southern hemisphere. What about the northern hemisphere? In which direction must it rotate? Yes, the
Anti-clockwise. Anti-clockwise, sir.
There's nothing complex so far that we've done, right? Okay.
Yes.
This one where we say the mid-latitude cyclone occurs during winter in South Africa, research why. That question is also asked in the next question. So let me just scroll so that we can start with this one first, okay? Is it fine, Sam? Yes, Sam. Sam.
Yes, sir. I want to go back a little bit. Lapha kule South Hemisphere. Mabathi bona ikuphi if i-rotator to anti-clockwise?
You look at the air rotation. If it rotates clockwise, it means it's southern hemisphere. if umoya within the cell is rotating clockwise, it's southern hemisphere, but if it is rotating anti-clockwise, it's northern hemisphere.
Oh, okay. So,
just look at that. Okay, so let's look at this one, guys. I told you and I gave you a hint that mid-latitude cyclones, they move in families. When they move, they are families. So this one is an example of a diagram showing a family of mid-latitude cyclones. Okay, we can see that this is a family of mid-latitude cyclones. So now my question is, in this family of mid-latitude cyclones, identify how many mid-latitude cyclones are present. How many do we have? Yes, Zoom user.
Sir, I said 3.
3. Did we all agree? Did we all agree with her? Did we all see 3 mid-latitude cyclones in this family?
Yes.
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 No, sir.
Okay, Trevor, how many did you see?
I see 2, sir.
You say 2. Okay. Okay, let's just try to circle them so that we can see them. So each and every mid-latitude cyclone, it must have its own center, or it's a low pressure center, something like this. You can see that, right? This is another low pressure center here. So it means this is another mid-latitude cyclone. This one is another low pressure. So it means this is another mid-latitude cyclone. Okay, so we must only have one V shape. This is one mid-latitude cyclone. Another V shape, it's another mid-latitude cyclone. Yes, Trevor?
So even if lapha number 2 agna L, still isa say mid-latitude cyclone or isaya ku mid-latitude cyclone?
Now that is the question, that number 2. You will tell us why there is no L there. Yes, Zoom user? Are you raising your hand?
Oh, no, sir, no.
Okay, so in this case, guys, we can see that we have got a yes and no. Is there a question? Okay, I assume there's no question. You're not talking. We have got yes.
I wanted to ask that okay, it's fine.
Okay, so we have got 3 mid-latitude cyclones, guys. We have got this first one here. This is one mid-latitude cyclone. This is another mid-latitude cyclone, 2. This is another mid-latitude cyclone, 3. Remember, guys, you just use the V shapes to identify them, okay? So each mid-latitude cyclone has got a V-like shape. So this is 1. And then if I join in another one to form a family, I can join in another V shape. Now there are 2. Do you kind of get the sense?
Yes, sir.
Yes, and at each and every V, you are going to see these isobars that show the atmospheric pressure of that particular pressure center. Okay, so now which stage is each one of these mid-latitude cyclones? So let's just call this one as mid-latitude cyclone number A. This one is B, the green one, and then C, this one, the orange one. So let's look at A first. Which stage of development is it in? Yes, Tahato.
So it is in the development stage.
Development stage. Why?
Because on the left we have a cold front, and also on the right we have like a warm front. So
development stage.
Okay, my answer is wrong there. The reasoning is wrong.
Yeah, the reasoning is a bit incorrect, because the mature stage is when you've got a proper cold front and a proper warm front. Now, looking at that one, yes, Yangoba?
Wait, I just want to ask a question here. I don't want to answer. In diagram A, B, C, the mid-latitude cyclone, it doesn't have shapes. Because in 2, it seems like it's a wave shape, and in B, it seems like it's a V shape, and C, it seems like it's a Y shape.
Yes, it's now overlapping, yes, right? But when you okay, this is just you being able to identify them, but when you write it in formal reasoning, you have to kind of just say that A looks like a wave, or it's a wave shape. It shows that the polar front is now in its wave stage. Okay. And you can also see the most important things that you guys are missing. I told you guys that at the center, there is no L. They won't write a low pressure there because we don't have a well-developed low pressure system. I mentioned it, guys. I said it that whenever they give you diagrams of this development stage, this L, I just wrote it so that you guys can kind of have an idea. And because it was also here, but most of the times when they give you diagrams, they will not include this L because this low pressure is not really that intense because only a small mass of warm air extended. All right.
Yes.
Yes. So here, one of the things, there is no fully developed low pressure system. You can say that as well. That shows that it is still a developing mid-latitude cyclone. And then what about a mid-latitude cyclone number B?
Can I talk, sir?
B, yes.
It's a mature stage.
Mature stage. Okay, we are going for a 10 minutes break. We'll come back. Remember, Zoom will cut us out after 10, and we'll come back after 10 minutes. So it means that we're coming back at 26 past 8. Hey Lapo, I know that you've been enjoying this wonderful video and most likely you've been enjoying watching this handsome face in front of you, but sorry ladies, I'm taken. I just here to tell you that Educate is on the road to 100,000 subscribers by the end of 2025. So please click the subscribe button and click the notification bell so that you get notifications whenever I post new videos. I want you guys to pass. Okay, so if you make my dream true, I reach 100k subscribers, I will make your dreams come true. I will even get you to varsity. I will get you with 7 distinctions. Yes. Why do you say that a mid-latitude cyclone B, this one, which is circled in green, why do you say that it's in its mature stage?
So can I try?
Yes. Why did you say B is in its mature stage? Yes, Bunol.
I think it's because the cold and the warm front have fully developed.
Yeah, you can fully see them, guys, that this is the cold front. The cold front looks like this. If you can see these spikes fully developed, it's a fully developed cold front. If you can see these circular shapes fully developed, it's a fully developed warm front. Yes, Yango.
So would I be wrong if I said it has less than 1,000 APA?
Okay, can you see that from the diagram?
Yeah, because you can't see it.
According to my understanding, say, do you see la pakule occasion, the second day we have 1,005.
Yeah.
If you look at second and the second la pakule mature stage are not the same. So la pakule second mature stage in none. Nalia we bona le occasion stage equal. So that one is less than 1,000 because if you look lapha line lihamba it's 110 and mawusiya kuleliya lelikhudlwana lelapha occasion it's 105 then masisiya kulapha lelincane obvious yoba less than 1,000.
Well, that's good if the drawings were drawn to scale. But thing is, the diagrams that we have, they're not really drawn to scale. You don't really look at the shapes of the circles or how big the circles are. You look at the reading on it. So if they are not giving you the reading, it's a bit difficult for you to just say it is definitely ectopus. It is definitely below 1,000. But I can see what you're trying to say from this context because this diagram is somewhat drawn to scale, but at least have a number written here that is 996 or something that is less than 1,000. Yeah. Then C, which phase is this? Which stage of development is this mid-latitude cyclone C in? C, what is the stage? The heart.
It's the occluded stage.
It's the occluded stage, right? So this is the occluded stage or the occlusion. Is an occluded stage. And how do you see that it's an occluded stage? Just from this diagram. Yes, Telmo.
Sir, the warm front is slowly joining in with the cold front. That's
Yes.
why the
Overlap, yes.
yeah.
So here, this overlap that you can see here, you can see that the warm front and the cold front are kind of overlapping with each other. So it tells you that now this is an occluded stretch, or it's an occlusion. Okay, so we have got the cold front. This is the cold front, and we've got the warm front. They are kind of joined together. Okay, and here you've got this line that has got both the cold front and the warm front symbol. Okay, yes, Sam?
I said cold front and warm front, they overlap.
Yes, that,
Ngingamnileyo.
yes, that overlap. Yes, Siyanqoba.
So I want to ask you, the overlapping line, it has a warm and a cold front same time. And I not seen the overlapping line.
Okay, so this overlapping line, which has got both a cold and a warm front, it is actually known as an occluded front. Okay, it's known as an occluded front. But when we do the types of occlusions, you'll be able to understand it quicker. But this is an occluded front.
Okay, sir.
Yes. So, guys, these activities are for you to take this and understand it, okay? So that whenever you face difficult questions, you are able to cope. Study the infographic on mid-latitude cyclone that is shown below. You have been given a couple of statements that are written in words, and you have been given a synoptic weather map. Do you all guys see the synoptic weather map here?
Yes, sir.
Okay, right. Identify the fronts at 1 and at 2 on the synoptic weather map. I sent you guys this document, so you are supposed to see it clearly from your phones or your devices. Do you see front number 1, the front at 1?
Yes, sir.
This one, right? So this one, which I'm highlighting in red, I don't know if it's so visible, but I will zoom it in so that you guys can see. You can see that this is a front that has got these spikes, right? So it's a cold front. It has got these triangular shapes, these spiky shapes. Okay, it's triangular shapes. So we say that it's a what? It's a cold front. So when you are going to write here, you have to write 1 is a cold front. Most of you did good on this one. It was pretty simple. And then what about front number 2? What is it?
Warm front.
It's a warm front. You can see it, guys. This one highlighted in blue. It has got these circular shapes here. So it's a warm front. Let me just zoom it in one more time. Okay, let's go back. All right. It's a warm front, guys. You can see it clearly, right? This blue one, it has got these round shapes. It's a warm front. Do you all see that?
Yes.
Yes. Yes, sir.
All right. Now 1.3.2 now asks us, why do cold fronts affect the Western Cape in the winter season? This one, I gave it as a research task for you to research. Why does, because I told you that a cold front only affects South Africa during winter season. And guys, when I'm talking about a cold front, it is the same thing as saying a mid-latitude cyclone, because remember that the cold front comes from a mid-latitude cyclone. So when they ask you in a way such that they say, why do cold fronts affect the Western Cape in the winter season? It is the same thing as saying, why do mid-latitude cyclones affect the Western Cape in the winter season? Because basically the cold front is coming from the mid-latitude cyclone itself. Why? What were you able to find? Why?
So, can you please repeat your question?
Why do cold fronts affect the Western Cape in the winter season?
Yeah. Okay.
Guys, I gave you a task to research this. All of these days, I don't know how many days, a whole 5 days, you were supposed to be researching all of this. It's a simple thing that you guys were supposed to do. But let's not go there. Dahatso?
So I found out that it is because the mid-latitude cyclone belt shifts equatorwards, sweeping over the tip of SA.
Okay. That's one of the good reasons. Yeah. Tell more.
Sir, I said it is because of the westerly wind belt shifts northwards in winter.
That's
This
also
brings
correct. That's also correct, Judge. Okay, this is a 1 for 2 marks here. You can elaborate further.
this brings mid-latitude cyclones and the cold fronts over southern parts of South Africa.
Okay, cool, correct. Yes, Yangob.
I have found out
Hey,
it is because the westerly wind belt shifts northwards, bringing mid-latitude cyclone cold front across the region.
Okay, what is shifting northwards? I didn't quite get you.
It is the western wind belt shifts northwards.
That's correct. That's correct as well. And then now Zoom user says, I think during winter the westerly wind belt moves northeastward, allowing cold fronts to reach the Western Cape. All of your answers are correct. But now the question, do you understand what the answers are saying?
No.
Yeah, so you guys simply went to Google and searched why do cold fronts affect the Western Cape. Then Google gave you a couple of options, right?
Yes, sir.
Good thing that you admit it, okay? Guys, remember the motto for this whole channel is to learn to understand. So try your best to kind of develop an understanding on something. But let's just go back a bit so that you understand why do cold fronts or why do mid-latitude cyclones affect South Africa in winter. Okay, since this diagram is a bit messed up, I will just draw my own Earth diagram. So in my own Earth diagram, I'm just going to draw a circle. This is the Earth, right? And then this is South Africa, somewhere here. This is South Africa. We see South Africa here, right? And then the rest of Africa. I'm so talented. And then, yeah. So this is your globe. So you guys need to remember where the equator is. So the equator is here at the 0 degrees line of latitude. Is known as the equator, right? So you guys learned it in grade 11. You learned of the anticyclones. Okay, you are still going to learn them again in grade 12. It's fine, you're still going to learn them again in grade 12, but you need to know that these mid-latitude cyclones, they are kind of attached together. Okay, let's just use a simple diagram. Let's just say this round is a mid-latitude cyclone. It is attached to what? It is attached to two anticyclones. So we are trying to say that during winter, anticyclones, they move upwards. Just look at this diagram, guys. We've got two objects that are connected. I want you to just kind of have an imagination. And if I say that this black ball moves northwards during winter, what will happen to this red ball? Just imagine. Guys, we've got a black ball and a red ball connected to each other, maybe with a string or in thumb or something, and I move this black ball upwards. What will happen to this red ball?
You also move upwards.
Yeah, it will also move upwards. Guys, I want you to use simple imagination before we apply complex concepts to this whole thing. All right. So so the mid-latitude cyclones, just imagine it as this red ball. So the mid-latitude cyclones are connected to anticyclones. Okay, so mid-latitude cyclones are connected to anticyclones. They are also connected to the wind belts. Okay, the westerly wind belts. You guys were talking about westerly wind belts. So they are also connected to the westerly wind belts. So you guys learned in grade 11 that during summer, the westerly wind belts and the anticyclone, they move upwards with the intertropical convergence zone. If you remember something like that back in the day in grade 11, but basically the wind belts, the anticyclones, and also the ITCZ, all of these things, they move northwards during winter. If you guys didn't know that, let me just tell you. Imagine this black ball as the wind belt or the anticyclone or the ITCZ. All of them, they do what? They move northwards during winter. It means that they go up. They kind of move northwards. So it means that since the mid-latitude cyclones, they are also controlled by them. It means they'll also move northwards, affecting South Africa. So let's just say this is an anticyclone. It is here. And then we have got a mid-latitude cyclone that is attached to it. So it means that when the anticyclone will move northwards or it moves upwards in this diagram, what will happen to this black ball, which is the mid-latitude cyclone? It will also move northwards, right? Isn't it, guys? Using a simple sketch.
Yes, sir.
Yes, exactly that. That's what you guys were trying to explain all along. So basically, when this black ball or when this mid-latitude cyclone moves northwards, it means that it will end up affecting this region, which is South Africa. So basically, when the anticyclones and the westerly wind belts and the ITCZ, when all of these move northwards, it means the mid-latitude cyclone will also move northwards. And you can see that as it moves northwards, it is getting closer to this South Africa. This is South Africa, if you cannot see. Okay. So just imagine it in this way for you to understand it. But if you continue with geography, you'll probably understand why I'm saying this. But basically, all of your reasons were correct. Basically, the anticyclones move northwards. So anticyclones move northwards in winter. So anticyclones move northwards in winter, meaning that they go to the north, or you can say northeast, eastwards, is still the same thing. So anticyclones move northwards during winter. So if these move northwards during winter, automatically the mid-latitude cyclones will also move northwards in the same way. And when they move northwards, it's kind of meaning that they are getting closer to South Africa, and particularly they will affect Cape Town, the Western Cape, as a whole province. Do you kind of get the sense, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So South Africa experiences the attack from the mid-latitude cyclone during winter, because during winter the anticyclones will move northwards, such that also the mid-latitude cyclone will kind of follow them and move northwards as well, affecting this Western Cape region of South Africa, or affecting this southwestern coast of South Africa, which is in Western Cape, of course. Sam, you can talk.
Okay, sir. So, sir, those anticyclones that from the North Pole,
Why do the anticyclones move northwards?
Yes, sir.
Okay, here you are reasoning why the mid-latitude cyclone is moving northwards. So they will never ask you to reason why the anticyclones are moving northwards during winter. But I'll just give you the reason, okay? So basically, the intertropical convergence zone at the equator. Remember that during winter, in the southern hemisphere, the sun is kind of all over the northern hemisphere. So it means that the intertropical convergence zone, it shifts and it goes northwards. And when the intertropical convergence zone shifts and goes northwards, it means all of these high pressure cells or all of these anticyclones will be able to also shift and move northwards. And when these high pressure cells are moving northwards, it means that also the low pressure cells, which are the mid-latitude cyclones, they will also move northwards. But they will never ask you why the anticyclones are moving northwards during winter, because it's something that you learned in grade 11, explaining when the sun is on the Tropic of Capricorn, this is what happens. Tropic of Cancer, this is what happens. But now, when you are reasoning it in grade 12, you say that the mid-latitude cyclone is moving northwards during winter. It is because the anticyclones themselves and the wind belts, they are also moving towards the north. Okay, they are moving northwards, causing the mid-latitude cyclone to also follow them.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So it is 1 for 2 marks, of course. And then, you're gonna elaborate. Please, you're gonna finish the statement here. Anticyclones move northwards during winter, therefore are resulting in mid-latitude cyclone also moving northwards, affecting the Western Cape. So I just skipped a bit there so that you guys can just put it in your own words. But the most important point here is that the anticyclones are moving northwards during winter. Therefore, the mid-latitude cyclone will also move northwards. And when it is moving northwards, it will be able to touch Cape Town. It will be able to touch Western Cape and affect it during winter. You get the sense, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and then you can also talk about the wind belts. They act the same way. The wind belts also move towards the north during winter. So wind belts move northwards also during winter. It's a reason on its own. You still remember the pressure belts, guys? The wind belts that we're talking about. Do you still remember them from grade 11? Hey.
Yes.
Lelele. Give me one example of a pressure belt that you know.
Equatorial loop.
Yeah, we've got an equatorial low pressure belt. We have got a subtropical high, right?
Subtropical high.
Exactly.
Subpolar low.
Yeah.
All of those guys, they are the wind belts that are moving northwards during winter. Okay, so this will also allow the mid-latitude cyclone to also move. Okay, what do we call the mid-latitude cyclones that occur after each other, like the cyclones on the synoptic weather map? They occur after each other. What do we call them?
So can you please repeat your question?
Okay, it is the 1.3.3 that's written. What do we call mid-latitude cyclones that occur after each other, like the ones on the synoptic weather map? Yes, Tahatso?
The cyclone family or a family of cyclones.
Yeah, you can say family of cyclones. Guys, don't write family alone. There's someone who wrote family, guys. Some of the things that you write in geography, they are really fun. How can you write just family? It's a family of human beings. Are we now a family going to destroy people with rain? It's a family of cyclones, or you can say anything that specifies that this is a family of something, okay? Don't just say family. Family of cyclones. Okay, cool. Yes, what's the question?
Group of cyclones.
It's a what?
A group of cyclones.
Not group. We use the term family. The family is very important. If you just say group, yeah, it's practically or realistically a group, but the term that we use in geography is family.